Hey, Paul Revere here, Liberty Underground Press. I wanted to talk real briefly. I'm probably going to revisit this in more detail, but where the idea that eventually led to the Liberty Underground Press between myself and friends came from. Um, I do have several books about the founding fathers and the earlier times in America, and I happened to pick up one that actually has pamphlets from pre-Revolutionary War periods called The American Revolution, writings from the pamphlet debate, 1764 to 1772. There are more to this series that are available, but this is one that I came across, and I just decided to read one of the first pamphlets in here by James Otis. But before I started reading that, I came across in the introductory of the book, because I was just taking a look at it, some discussion. So let me flip to the preface where I came across this. One of the first things that I saw was at the top, and it's a selection from a letter from John Adams to Thomas Jefferson from 1815. If you've looked at a copy of the first edition of Liberty Underground Press, I referred to that in one of the first articles on there. But it basically said, what do we mean by the revolution? The war? That was no part of the revolution. It was only an effect and consequence of it. The revolution was in the minds of the people, and this was effected from 1760 to 1775 in the course of 15 years before a drop of blood was drawn at Lexington. The records of 13 legislatures, the pamphlets, the newspapers, and all the colonies ought to be consulted during that period to ascertain the steps by which the public opinion was enlightened and informed concerning the authority of Parliament over the colonies. So I came across this. I shared it with some of my friends, as we discussed it, it kind of birthed an idea that our country has kind of lost the idea of liberty and freedom that was there at the beginning. There's talk about, is there another civil war coming? But I think most of the people, they don't really have the knowledge or the stomach or really the umption that they would need to even talk about some of these things. And so as my friends and I talked and family, we came up with the idea of looking exactly where John Adams said to look. And so we have become looking at some of the early newspapers, the early writings, the pamphlets that were distributed all over the place in America and in England. And we're going to try to get some of that wisdom. And instead of us recreating the wheel, since most of Americans don't really know this information anymore, we'll let the words speak for themselves, the original words. And if these original words were able to birth a revolution, they were able to birth in our countrymen, our forefathers, and this sense of liberty and the sense of what needs to be done and what's important and what's worth not just living for but dying for. It should be able to do it today. And so that's one of the ideas behind that eventually led to Liberty Underground Press, was to take some of these writings and share them with the public. If you look at the first edition, I actually wrote the first article in the issue 1, and it kind of talks about that. So anyway, just wanted to give you a little bit of background about some of the things and some of the reasons that my friends and I put together the Liberty Underground Press, and where some of the ideas come from and everything. So you have the resources, you have the knowledge, and you can also get a copy of Liberty Underground Press yourself and enjoy it. Again, if you don't have availability to get a physical copy, then email Liberty Underground Press at outlook.com and we'll get you a digital copy. Have a good evening.